Okay, blade sharpening too. I said before, with blade sharpening, a blade always tells a story. And here's a prime example of the guy's hitting something pretty hard, be it a rock or a piece of steel or a water valve or something, and not telling me. So we'll definitely have a little chat tomorrow morning about the blades. The blades always tell a story. And it's important that if you do hit something, you shut the machine off, take the blade off, get it fixed up, get it balanced. Because the last thing you want is a wobbly blade, because that will take the bearings out of your machine. Now what I'm going to have to do on this side is, I'm still going to have a groove when I'm done. That's the nature of the blade. I can't make that stuff come back, and I don't want to grind all this and lose all this part of the blade, as you see there. So I'm still going to have a little bit of a hole out of my blade, but I'm going to grind this and grind this, but I'm going to take a little bit off the back because it's really round in that area there. So I'm going to do the same thing on this other side, because that's the culprit right there, but the blade did spin around, and I can see some damage on this side of the blade as well. The boy should have told me about that. That's important. But I'm not Angry Mike today. Okay, so what I mentioned before is I like to take the blade to the grinder. You can use a hand brush and clean off all that grass, or a scraper and clean it off. I find this is the easiest. If you don't have this, just use a hand brush. Make sure you wear your safety protection, your PPE. Yes, sirree. And by the way, I don't claim that I'm the sheeny man. I'm a guy that likes to sharpen the blades on the machine. Other people might have a different technique. This is the technique that works best for me. We're taking off the heavy built-up grass on here, again, just so the blade will balance. Okay, so remember, I said I've got to work both sides of the blade this time because this blade is damaged. And I won't be able to put that back in, and I'm not grinding that back to that. Alright, it's a waste of blade. And these blades can be expensive. Again, you want to maintain that angle. It's important to maintain the existing angle on the blade. Don't try to create a new angle. Sheeny Man. Remember the Sheeny Man, Shannon? No. You remember the Sheeny Man?
No.
He used to drive up to town sharpening everybody's knives. We used to think he was a killer. The Sheeny Man's coming. Side, Shannon, over here, and I'm just going to clean up this back edge. When you're sharpening a blade, it's not a race. You don't need to rush to get this done. Take your time with it. If you screw it up, they make blades all the time. You go down to the hardware store or the rental and buy a new one. Okay, on this side I'm maintaining a flat edge. There's no contour to it. I'm just trying to maintain a flat edge, something that I can grind my point to or bring it up on the other side. Now I've got some pretty serious damage here, so I don't know whether I'll be able to fix this this blade completely, but it's still not a bad blade. So again, I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to work on this side again to try to clean this area up and bring this edge down a little bit, but still I want to maintain that edge. Side two. You might want to wear gloves too, because this side can get pretty hot when you're grinding. As I'm doing it, I'm letting the grinder do the work. I'm not forcing the grinder down on the blade. It's not necessary. If you've got a good grinder, it'll work its magic all on its own. Again, this side I'm just going to make flat. Side, push it up. Check for balance, and it's fairly balanced. Even though I had a major hump come out of it, it's fairly balanced. If it's not balanced, like I mentioned before, you can take some off this corner here using the grinder here, in, back over, check it again. You don't take much off each time. You check it again, or you can use your flat grinder. Either way, that's where you're going to take it to balance it. It's as easy as that. Mike the Shinny Man. One thing I forgot to mention, when you put your blade back on, you want to make sure you put it on the right way. If you put it upside down, the blade won't cut so swell. Alright, make sure you put it on the right way so the angle's going up into the machine and the flat part is facing the ground. Do it right and you'll cut some nice grass.